You know, it's very interesting what happens when you get told you can't have something. And that's kind of the theme of what we're going to talk about today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming so we can make collecting great again, as always. But the psychology of collecting is a very interesting thing. We all like our little plastic people and our dollies and our shelfies, but when you get down to it, there's reasons why these corporations do what they do when they do it. It's a dance. It's almost a science to them. It all started with one image that a friend of mine sent me. And, I looked at it and I thought, I really want to discuss that. Yeah. My buddy Kenzo talking about how Jim Bro Skeletor sold out. And then you kind of get down the rabbit hole. Some people are saying, well, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's the wrong background. Yeah, let me get the side scrollers one off there. Sorry. That's why we do it live. It's not polished. All the people who did get the Jim Bro Skeletor, like, oh, well, it's your freaking fault. Oh, you missed out. You slept on it, blah, blah, blah. And then you go down the rabbit hole. We talk regularly about there are a lot of people in these hobbies that they're, it's not just that they're in it for number one, but they're pretty shitty about it. Yeah. So we're going to talk about engineered scarcity today. We're going to talk about the psychology of collecting. I don't want to use the word FOMO. Probably should have made that a secret word of the day. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of pregame that and invite everybody in before we get going. So thanks for being here, and let's rock it.
Wolverines! Wolverines! Hell yeah!
Is an absolute ultra Chad.
Absolute ultra Chad, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here with me today. I always appreciate the fact that I can never get through the chat in the intro. That's the way that it should be. Mother Slug says Red Dawn is the best movie ever made. Wolverines, hell yeah. Great movie. 100% fantastic movie. Still holds up. Watch it all the time. Michael Bentz, what's up? If it's not locked behind Pulse membership, then it's nobody's fault but your own. See, collecting post-COVID is a battle. Grow a pair or bail. Well, you're going to be my fucking guinea pig now. Yeah, that's going to happen. If it's not locked behind memberships, it's nobody's fault but your own. How many times do people have shit in their cart and it's just gone? So I don't know if I agree with that, especially this last part. Collecting post-COVID is a battle, grow a pair or bail. Collecting post-COVID being a battle is intentional. That's intentional. It has nothing to do with the collector or the consumer. Most people have lives too. Got to be fast. I mean, if that's your take on it, I respect people's opinions, but yeah. You know, that's another thing. Sci-Fi Swamp Man brings up a good point. Target has dumped my stuff so many times. How many times do people have pre-orders? Walmart, Target, whatever, and they just fucking cancel them out from under you. So, but yeah, this is something that I wanted to discuss. I thought it was a worthy topic to just kind of dive into, but I don't just want to sit here and go, well, I can't get my dollies because I wasn't fast enough and it didn't grow a pair. Michael, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to lean on you. There's reasons. And I think a lot of people just don't get into the reasons. So kind of a thing. So oh, hey, we got new clips, kids. We got new clips. This one's from Mother Slug.
Can you quit saying that I look like Buffalo Bill? Because it's not funny. You're not funny at all. And you're not original.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. So it's supposed to be funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to shit on you, dude. I'm just going to lean on that because that's that kind of thought process where it's like, well, I got mine. Fuck you. So kind of one of those things. Ooby dooby scooby banooby dooby blah 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 blah. Thank you for renewing your channel membership. Wolverines, hell yeah. Crystal Clear says, I don't fear FOMO. FOMO fears me. I'm one of those people. I experience this thing called JOMO. I have the joy of missing out. I don't give a shit. I am kind of empathetic toward my, my fellow collectors who are, consumers of the modern day stuff, but no. As much as I love Kenzo, when he posted that thing, I was like, that's modern collecting. And when I say modern collecting, I don't mean collecting in the modern day. I mean collecting modern shit. There's a difference, right? That's why I go backwards. Jim Largo says, with the online shopping technology, how the hell do you sell out on pre-orders? Yeah, I started this one for a reason, my friend. I think we all know the answer to that, right? And I'm gonna kind of dive into a little bit while keeping an eye on the chat, and then we'll kind of bounce back around to this. Clint Allison says, don't know the industry, but I could say it's not engineered. But with it being like Comic-Con or some shit, of course, it's going to be in less numbers than a mainline release or a Walmart Target release. Not talking about con exclusives. And then again, here's an argument for this comment. The freaking stupid Cold Slither set that everybody was begging anybody they could get a hold of to get it for them at San Diego Comic-Con. It's on Hasbro Pulse right now. But in that moment, they held off on supply. And if you were at San Diego Comic-Con last year, like some of us were, you could see behind the main part of their booth, the boxes were, 15, 20 feet high. They were not going to run out. They intentionally did that. If they drip feed it, then people are going to want it more. There's a science behind being told you can't have a thing. There absolutely is. That person has dimples like me. Yay for new clips. That's what I'm talking about. Is that your new favorite one? Stop calling me Buffalo Bill. I mean, it's applicable, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's applicable. Ace's Place. I absolutely missed out on NECA Ninja Turtle figure that they released from their vault. I had underestimated other people collecting so quickly. Sucks, but I'm completely okay, I swear. Are you? Are you? I'm just saying, I would wear a Joy of Missing Out shirt. I fucking love it, man. Yeah, I'm 100% in the fucking Joy of Missing Out. I see this new stuff and people climbing all over each other and being dicks, like, oh, Ha ha ha, I got 3. F you. And I'm like, huh, no thanks. Yeah. Michael Bent says, I got Starscream from Pulse, my son Target. His canceled, mine was shipped. I did see it at Target and snagged it for him. Collecting is tough. I don't know, man. That almost feels like excusing it. You know, we're the ones that keep these people's lights on. That's kind of where it is at the end of the day. Batstan, what's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. The scarcity thing makes me want to quit and hate this hobby. Dang. I don't have FOMO. I looked at Eldrick at DFW and I still have no Raggerts. Yeah, I got one for Slade on Slade and I was like, I don't even see what's the fucking hype on this thing. But, you know, if you like it, you like it. That should always be the bottom line. Like what you like. People like Michael Bentz. He's totally cool with the grind, and that's fine. It's all well and good. But what I don't like to see is, you know, excusal of this weird rat race that's been going on lately with the big toy manufacturers and big box retailers. Like there's just this whole weird cyclical, like, let's fuck each other over and fuck the customers over at the same time. It's like they always try to one up each other. I don't understand it. And for those of you who don't know or maybe forgot, Hasbro Pulse is not owned by Hasbro. That's not Hasbro. So that's why if I ordered something from, let's say, Big Bad Toy Store or fucking Nerdzoic, and one of you ordered the exact same item from Pulse, you will always get yours last. That is why. Pulse is not Hasbro. It is a third-party site. Jim Largo says, if you're on the fence about buying a toy just based on digital renders, by the time you see someone actually reviewing it, it's already sold out. Yeah, and then you're paying scalper prices. But how much of that, I don't even want to call it a business model, but how much of that practice is just leaving money on the table? And then you see, I don't want to say Mattel, but I will aim this squarely at Hasbro. You see them crying about how they have to lay off 1,500 people because their end of fiscal year numbers weren't good enough. But every time you see them leaving money on the table, it's just yeah, it's kind of weird. Kevzilla, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Wolverine. Instead of popcorn bucket, that's fucked up. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Christopher Vose. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I tried to purchase Jimbro Skeletor on 3 devices, used multiple credit cards each time, there was an issue creating your order. Try again, contact us. See? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's your fault, right?
That's that bullshit.
That is that bullshit. Christopher goes on to say, Maddie Creations told me they're happy for me to buy something else. I'm going to spit in your food and you're going to say thank you, right? Using the same process that didn't work. No, absolutely not. Sci-Fi Swamp Man, I'm just making up numbers here. Oh, yeah, why not? But for example, Star Wars Cantina sold 100,000, but the 4-pack of figures needed to complete the scene, they only put out 10,000. Yeah, there you go. Toy flexers. Fucking yeah. Oh yeah. There's a couple of them, right? Like the ones that climb all over each other to get shit from, like, you know, Indonesia or the Philippines or something, so they can get it first and be like, oh, I got this first. Or, you know, even better, the ones that suck up to the companies to get shit for free. The ones with zero integrity. Mother Slug says, like I said in the members stream, shitty companies play shitty games, then get burned in the end. They did it to themselves years later, waiting for Ollie's to get it for cheap price. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. Darth Gutierrez, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. I don't know. See, here's the thing. I'm a firm believer in if there's 2 or 3 on the peg and you want multiples, you know, just leave one for the next person. Not everybody plays like that, though. I mean, We see how these people get nuts with Pokemon cards, right? They'll fucking take them all. Funny, right? Catch them all. Darth Gutierrez says, regardless, both Hasbro and Pulse are cowards and have no respect. Damn. How do you really feel? Tell me how you really feel, my friend.
It's science, people! Science!
Robert's Infinite Realms says, I'm slowly giving up on collecting modern stuff besides Valaverse and the occasional Marvel. Going to focus on filling gaps. If that makes you happy, if you feel fulfilled, yeah, absolutely. It is the popcorn bucket. Who wants to reach their fucking hand into his mouth hole? Yeah. James Only, what's up, brother, man? It's always good to see you, dude. But what marketing? That's the thing. What is their marketing? There's no toy commercials anymore. They don't have to coordinate with the release of movies for the most part. Maybe the Danny McBride one will fix that, but I mean, Mattel does a pretty good job. They did a good job with their Barbie movie. They did a good job with their Masters of the Universe movie. You know, good, bad, or indifferent, however you felt about the movie. They still put out products for the movie, but I don't see a lot of traditional kind of marketing, but we don't live in a traditional world when it comes to dollies anymore, I guess. Oh, that's another great example. Yeah, I remember when the Was Once a Man Cobra Commander came out. A friend and I both ordered ours at the same time. His got canceled. I got mine. He ordered his first. Luckily, I ordered two and gave him one. See, that's good looking out. But it's still fucked up, right? So a lot of times it's a roll of the dice. I understand that Michael was saying like, hey, you know, it is what it is. You got to be Johnny on the spot. Sure. But that doesn't guarantee you're going to get it. And when you have these executives who make the salaries and the bonuses that they make, like, oh, well, now we gotta fire people. We got to lay people off and fuck over our workforce that made us the money in the first place. But their companies, they allow this stuff. I definitely agreed with what Jim Largo was saying about how do you have pre-orders that sell out? And I don't think that anyone can ever really answer that aside from like, oh, well, they just set a number. Got it. They set a number. But you see a lot of indie companies doing it in a way where they set a pre-order window. And a pre-order window allows for them to get a better understanding of how many they need to produce. And they just let that thing roll. Big corporations with that whole too big to fail mentality we discuss a lot, especially with the way G.I. Joe is mistreated, right? And kind of, I don't want to say neglected, but abused in the way of like, well, whatever, we just put out however many. They don't care about the numbers. They just care about telling their bosses we sold out. Again, hype. It's about hype. It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Funny story. Apparently, I can't buy anything from Hasbro Pulse. Maybe they don't like you. I don't know what to tell you. I did pronounce it correctly. Cool. Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Headcanon says, I missed the pregame show, so my chat performance will suffer because I didn't get a chance to stretch. Well, you're here now. That's all that matters. Jim Largo says, it's even worse for blind bags and variants. You are encouraged to buy multiples if you can find them, just to maybe get what you want. I don't know if I want to go down the rabbit hole of blind bags and variants. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I kind of don't care about variants. And again, we always try to celebrate individuality and not being, like a tribalist echo chamber. I personally just don't care. I have the worst luck anyway, so it just kind of is what it is. Christopher says, I will say that I've been highly impressed with how Nacelle has handled their entrance into the toy. Yeah. Dude, Nacelle's awesome. Brian Volkweiss is a really cool dude. I've had him on the channel. He's a really good guy. I consider him a friend. We still talk. Yeah, I mean, he's a nerd and he cares, but you're also looking at independent companies. And you'll see a lot of independent companies. People have brought up Valaverse already, especially in the members pregame. People were talking about Valaverse a lot. When you have companies that will do con exclusives, and just because I may have personal feelings on a certain level, doesn't mean that I won't give credit where credit's due. Super 7 does it as well. If Super 7 has like a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, you can just go on their website and get it. If Valaverse does a con exclusive, as soon as they're done with the con, they put them right up on the site. That's how it should be. Does anyone remember when Hasbro had the con exclusive Serpentor, which mainline characters being exclusives is fucked up anyway? That's like spitting in people's food right there. And anybody who wasn't at the con could just go grab that QR code. It's kind of jacked. Milt Connor says, cracks me up when Target has a wall full of Nerf weapons, but only a 3-foot wide space for Joe's. Well, Nerf sells more than Joe. 100%. That's why. Nerf moves. Clint says, Michael, just get it a few years. They will reissue, Studio Series 86 Starscream and a Takara set. Okay, gotcha. You're talking to somebody else. Blake Tarpley, what is up, my man? Mavo Legends are amazing. Are they, though? Are they? I don't know. Was never a Marvel Legends guy, but it just seems like unless it's the really expensive $50 ones, the quality keeps going down. Kenzo says, I posted about skipping the date night Skeletor, got people posting how they got 2 or 3 at $60. That's crazy. I guess they can resell them for $300. I don't know. Maybe. But that's the game, right? And I don't hate the game, but it's engineered that way. I'm gonna pause X here on the chat for a second. Jeffy says reselling has been a vital part of the toy economy. That's true. And gaming and comics. Reselling is always a vital part of any hobby. Resellers or scalpers are probably who a lot of us buy from. That being said, it just means people were faster. It is true. Yeah, it is true. Yeah. Blake Tarpley wants to reach Bofa his hands into that mouth hole right there. James only says crowdfunding is their marketing. It's not thought out. Nope. I mean, look at the made to order Thunder Machine. They intentionally took Thrasher out of that. And people are like, thank you. Thank you very much, overlords. Yeah. I've been looking for some, the usual suspect toy tubers that would make excuses for that. I've been looking for some clips of that. Anyway, I want to talk about this. So we talk about the psychology of collecting, what drives collecting and things like that. And we're gonna build upon this until we kind of get to where we're going. Collecting is driven by a complex interplay of identity, emotion, cognition, and social factors, offering personal fulfillment and social connections, unless you're talking about Facebook toy groups, which are garbage. Some of the motivations behind collecting, key factors: identity expression. Objects often serve as extensions of the self, reflecting personal values, interests, and aspirations. Okay, that is absolutely accurate. Look at these friggin' abysmal toy activists. That reflects their personal values. I don't even know if I'd call them values, but they will take any character and impose their ideologies upon that little plastic person and make them do horrible things that are illegal, right, and immoral, because it fits their personal quote unquote values, interests, and aspirations. Because it's a concept known as the extended self in consumer psychology, right? If you really want to get down the rabbit hole, you can read about consumer psychology. There's also lots of books on the psychology of collecting. Another strong motivator for collecting is the desire for completeness, where finishing a set or acquiring a rare item provides a sense of accomplishment and control. Any of us who have completed a line, no matter how big or small it is, like we feel that, that's a sense of accomplishment. Cognitive and emotional factors. Collecting engages cognitive processes such as pattern recognition. Yep. Categorization, of course, right? So if you're trying to complete a G.I. Joe collection, the way I did it, very many ways, very rarely the way I did, 82, 83, 84, 85, so on and so forth, till I was done. And then, if I found a good item, I would pick it up, so bounce around a little bit. And decision-making, of course, decision-making, right? So like, do I want to buy this item from eBay now, or do I want to play the long game? That can absolutely be said when it comes to my Sergeant Savage P40 Warhawks. I didn't have any. I had like one Sergeant Savage item, and I said, I'm going to complete all of Sergeant Savage because it's only 1 year. There's a couple of rare pieces, but that's where we use categorization, pattern recognition, decision-making processes where, do I want to pay this price now or do I want to wait? And a lot of people see collecting as a race. Some people see it as, the marathon analogy. Emotional rewards include pleasure from novelty, pride in acquiring rare or valuable items. A lot of us, we're very proud of our grails, right? The social and cultural influences. Collecting is often a social activity, which is true. With, there's that word, forming around shared interest through conventions, online forums, and trading networks. Toy collecting, online forums, and trading networks and communities are pretty ugly. These interactions foster a sense of belonging. I would argue that. Yeah, I don't collect for a sense of belonging, but we all have our own thing, right? Mutual appreciation and social recognition. Social recognition for sure. The toy collecting hobby has turned into who can get an item first to get the most likes, to get the biggest dopamine rush, and then fucking throw it in people's faces. Tell me I'm wrong. Competition and cooperation in acquiring objects can further motivate collectors. Yep, absolutely. Enhancing engagement and reinforcing social identity. Virtual collecting. Let's just go to the conclusion. The psychology of collecting reveals that it is far more than mere accumulation of objects. I think we can all agree on that, right? We don't collect just because we're accumulating dollies. It's a lifelong pursuit that intertwines cognitive stimulation, emotional satisfaction, identity reinforcement, and social engagement. Yeah, to one degree or another, I'll agree with all of that. Understanding these factors helps explain why collecting is a universal human behavior. Is it a street human behavior? And why it can be both deeply rewarding and in some cases challenging. Challenging for sure when we talk about engineered scarcity. Absolutely. I don't know if this is going to let me switch it. Oh, it did. Okay, so now we're going to build upon that, and then I'm going to get to the chat here in a minute. I said before the intro rolled, there is a lot that happens when you get told that you can't have a thing. And I kind of want to dive into that a little bit because engineered scarcity is 100% rooted in these facts right here. When someone says you can't have a thing, your brain often responds with intensified desire, a phenomenon rooted in psychological reactance and the scarcity effect. We'll kind of dive into the scarcity effect. Psychological reactance. The psychological reactance theory explains that when you feel your freedom or choice is being taken away, I want that dolly, they're not letting me get it, right? Your brain triggers a resistance response. This happens when you believe you have free choice. That choice matters to you. Again, you want the dolly. And the restriction feels real, even if it's only perceived. That third bullet point is important because a lot of times the restriction isn't real when we talk about engineered scarcity. Yeah, they're going to drip feed it, but that doesn't mean you can't get it later. See back to the example of that bullshit Cold Slither set. Right. They engineered scarcity of it in the immediate, and then now it's readily available. We're going to look at some other examples of that. Tomb Raider. We're going to look at that fucking retro-carded Lara Croft. And why is that figure in particular sold out? The threat comes from an external source. I'm a threat. That doesn't really apply. The reactance is your brain's built-in defense against feeling controlled. And it can make you want the forbidden thing more, right? That's the forbidden fruit that goes all the way back to the story of, right, the Garden of Eden and, oh, hey, Eve, don't touch that, right? Scarcity effect. Scarcity makes something seem more valuable. There you go. When something is rare or unavailable, your brain perceives it as more desirable. It's a survival instinct. In evolutionary terms, rare resources were more important to secure. Of course. I mean, look at the price of gold. Loss aversion. We fear losing what we have more than we enjoy gaining something equal. Now, in terms of toy collecting, that would kind of be, we fear not being able to get the item that other people are getting 2 or 3 of because we really want that dolly. Right. So it applies, but there's a little different spin on it. Dopamine fuels pursuit. Absolutely. Dopamine also fuels when people get it first. Either they suck up to a company and they get it first. And it's not just dollies. Look at all the freaking MCU and freaking Kathleen Kennedy Lucasfilm stands that just kiss that ass to get access to shit. Oh, I got Star Wars Outlaws early because I sucked up to Lucasfilm, or I kissed Ubisoft's ass, or I got to go see the fucking newest MCU movie first with all the critics because I kissed that ass. That's the dopamine effect that people look for. The anticipation of getting something you can't have triggers dopamine release, making the chase exciting. Everybody loves the thrill of the hunt. I think that any toy collector, comic book collector, physical media, video game collector, we love the thrill of the hunt. Like, we love when we find a thing. I want that gold Nintendo 64. I finally found it. Ego and identity. Sometimes wanting what you can't have is tied to ego. I think we saw some examples of that in the chat already. The desire to feel powerful, admired, or fulfilled by possessing it. That alone right there, that speaks volumes about current day toy collecting community. That's for you, Shartimus, you fuck. It's all about desire to feel powerful, admired. Right? A lot of people in this game want to be admired by other collectors because they're lacking something. Yeah. And some reason they feel fulfilled just by getting a hold of a dolly. This can make the restriction feel like a personal insult if you can't get a hold of it, further intensifying the desire to achieve it. Romeo and Juliet effect. When something is forbidden or out of reach, it becomes more alluring. This is why can't have often feels like must have. Engineered scarcity, right? When we talk about toys, pre-orders, again, go back to Jim Largo's comment. So many of us have been saying this for years. How the fuck do you sell out a pre-order? It's intentional. All of this explains why it's done. It's not because, oh, we got to give so many to this big box retailer. We got to give so many to this. A lot of times you have contracts, yeah, where, oh, well, Target gets this exclusive. Okay, well, if Target does a pre-order for that exclusive, do a pre-order. But the way that they look at their pre-orders is, we'll put 1,000 or 500. The numbers aren't that high, kids. I know a lot of us, we're biased toward our favorite intellectual properties, and we think that, oh yeah, it's got to be like 100,000 on pre-order. No. Now, Crowdfunding is different because you can see how many are ordered with like HasLabs and Kickstarters and things like that. You can see it because they have to reach a certain dollar amount. But when we talk about pre-orders, a lot of times it's like 1,000, 5,000. It's not 100,000 pieces. No fucking way. And they do that on purpose because if you can't get it, you're going to want it more. So you will be more apt to go into their stores, and then you're going to go down the toy aisle 3 times out of 5, I would argue. At least 50% of the time, when people go into stores and they can't find a thing, what do? They rummage around the store and they buy something else. Wow. I wonder why it works like that. In short, being told you can't have it triggers a mix of reactance, resistance to loss of freedom, scarcity, which is perceived value of rarity, and the dopamine-driven pursuit, sometimes ego-driven. This combination makes the unattainable feel more desirable than ever. There you go. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to take this off the screen. We're going to take a little break, and we'll go through the chat a little more. Brandon R says, there's enough stuff coming out regularly that the stuff I couldn't get, I'll wait a few years. Scalpers? No. Yeah, exactly. Long game, right? Sometimes you just got to play the long game. Mother Slug says, I think it's that fucking picture, man. I think it's safe to say Cabbage Patch Kids started that crazy scalping of a toy. I'm sure a lot of us remember the Cabbage Patch thing, but it wasn't just Cabbage Patch. A lot of times, especially in the 80s, when, initial shipments would go out, it wasn't enough to meet demand. All consumerism is supply and demand. And it's not just collecting or video games or comic books or toys, but Cabbage Patch, yes. What about Tickle Me Elmo? Everybody remember that from 1995, 96, 97? Mid 90s, somewhere around there. Tickle Me Elmo was a huge one, but that was driven by hype, 100%. And then the supply caught up. It was the same thing with Baby Yoda merch when Mandalorian, made that little fucking Rugrat popular. So Nicotronis says Date Night Skeletor is half the price and way less quality than the Mondo 112 Skeletor. And I have zero raggarts about missing Date Night and Jim Skeletor for the best Skeletor out there. There you go, man. Exactly. Okay, we're just talking to each other. Robert's Infinite Realms. I frickin' despise blind bags. Hey, there you go. Christopher says, I'm a sales rep myself and heard from another one about how somebody put a tracking device on the car of a lady that fills Pokemon cards. Whoa, really? To see like what store she was going around to like refill the Pokemon cards? That's nuts. I mean, you want to talk about this whole scarcity effect. That's absurd. That's another level. Michael says the was once a man Cobra Commander was a lesson learned for me. I didn't get him until I made a trade. That toy made me lose my mind. Like you wanted it that badly that you just got that whole scarcity effect. It's just something that I really wanted to talk about because we all talk about, I don't want to say we all, because I don't really like the term FOMO, but people talk about it. They understand it's a real thing, but why? Right? There's always whys to things. And a lot of us don't understand the processes that are going on inside of us as collectors, as lover of all these things that we want to amass. We don't know why, but the scarcity effect is a huge reason why these corporations lean into that. Kenzo says, I get blind bags for the kiddo because he has fun opening them. There you go. Right. But again, that boils down to, right, different strokes for different folks. Dick measuring contest it is with toy companies to toy shills. And we all know who has the leprechaun pinky weenie. I don't know. Who is that? Ethan, what's up, brother? I'm sorry you missed the members only pregame, but I'm glad you're here now, my dude. Thank you for being here. Sci-Fi Swampman says, I got kicked out of Hasbro Pulse trying to buy May the 4th stuff last year. I had HasLab orders and pre-orders on, is that my account? Freaking nightmare. At the end, they said, just make a new account. Okay, well, whatever. It is what it is. Medieval Alchemist, Valiverse actually gives a shit, unlike loyal subjects, Hasbro. Sorry, I had some bullshit in my throat. Yeah, I want to say Valiverse does give a shit, but let's also call balls and strikes, right? When you have a larger corporation that has numerous IPs under their roof, they are less concerned with getting as many items from this intellectual property into as many people's carts as possible because they have all this other shit. We see it specifically with Hasbro, and I'm not just here to dog on Hasbro, but we all know, right? They kind of fucking hate you at the end of the day. Hasbro will put all of their effort into Star Wars and Marvel. Star Wars, dead. It's fucking moribund. It's gone. The only stuff that's Star Wars that even sells anymore, it's the classics. Chewie, Vader, Luke, Han, etc., etc. That's the stuff that sells. Purple-haired girl boss, Holdo, potato sack, Tico, all that stuff. That shit doesn't sell. None of the new stuff. The Acolyte, gone. Skeleton Crew, no. They know that Star Wars is dead by Lucasfilm's hands. But because they spent so much money for the license, they got to hurry up to put out anything they can for Star Wars. They're more concerned about Star Wars than they are, say, a G.I. Joe. Even Transformers. That's why you don't see a rush, even though they're coming. You don't see a rush to put out Energon Universe like related stuff in a cohesive, shared, universe of toy lines that scale together. You're not seeing the mask stuff. Yeah, we got Rugged Duke, which that's Energon Duke. Anybody who says it's not is they're just glazing for those fucking turds who changed the name. But you're not going to see an Optimus Prime with a Megatron gun arm that scales well with a good guy Baroness figure that scales well with the correct race Matt Tracker and Void Rivals. You're not going to see that because Star Wars, Marvel, blah, blah, blah. Where I'm going with that is companies like Valiverse, Ramen Toy, there's a million examples of independent toy lines that will go above and beyond for their customers, but it also serves the company. They make more money, right? You want that customer loyalty, but you want their money at the same time. Smaller companies need it more than the big corporations. Big corporations, they'll just lay off a bunch of people and they won't lose a fucking night's sleep over it. John says, my Target toy aisle just shrunk a lot. All toys into 1.5 hours now. Now, are you talking about all toys in general? Because I don't think that applies to like Barbie and baby dolls and Monster High and shit like that. Are you talking about the boys action aisle? I think that's what you're referring to. CJ said the price for Date Night Skeletor was a joke because they know people want it. Look at retro carded classified Lara Croft. $45 for a retro carded figure. They know people want it. You will pay for it. Yeah. Brandon says, this stuff is overpriced as it is. Scalpers, hell no, I'll do without. But some people won't. Right? And that's what we're really kind of getting into the meat and potatoes of. Some people will not. They will pay it. I've done it. We've all done it at some point. Doesn't mean you need to feel bad about it, but I mean, integrity, right? Integrity is a thing. I've done it. I've done it on several occasions. Christopher says the Hasbro rep told me that Walmart Canada aren't ordering enough G.I. Joe classified. No, they're not. Walmart in general is not. Seems they get one case every 4 weeks. It sells out within hours. They don't even have a home peg. The Walmarts where I live don't have pegs for classified either anymore. It's just not on their planogram anymore. So it is what it is. Oh, Clint's coming in swinging. Valaverse is as bad as Hasbro Mattel when it gets to their exclusives. Really? So are they really the good guys? And they're doing the same shit as evil Chris Cox company for their Amazon releases. I'm sure some people would probably push back on that, but every time I've seen Valaverse offer a con exclusive, it's on their site, like the day after the con. But, go with what your emotional opinion tells you, I guess. Head Cannon with a $20 super chat. Thank you, my dude. I appreciate it very much. Very, very much. The quarterly earnings report is the worst thing that ever happened to publicly traded companies. It drives this problem because it focuses on short-term gains over long-term success. Absolutely. Selling stock instead of product. Dude, nailed it. Nailed it. First, thank you so much for the super chat. I would have read it anyway, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Because I don't fucking roll like that. But you're absolutely right. And here's another thing. We talk about engineered scarcity and how they play on your emotions and your feelings and all that stuff. Oh, I got to get it. I got to get it. I want it even more now because I couldn't get it because I did that on purpose. Halo campaign evolved. No multiplayer, whatever. Halo campaign evolved just came out. You can see the sales numbers of that game. You can see how many concurrent players are playing that game across any of the platforms. Steam, Xbox, whatever. You can see those numbers. When's the last time any of you saw toy sales numbers? You know why, right? I mean, there's a reason. They want you to think that this intellectual property, it's so evergreen, it's never going to go anywhere. Oh, it does gangbusters because it sold out. No, absolutely not. There's a reason why you can look up comic book sales. You can look up video game sales. You cannot look up toy sales. So thank you again, Headcanon. The Titan says, oh, hey, Chad, it's very insensitive of you to keep using words like values and morals about toy activists. They don't know what those mean. No, they don't.
Chad, how insensitive of you.
That's how we do around here. Blake Tarpley, Chad, speaking of finishing your very large collection, did you or do you routinely repair things like O-rings, replace? Yes, absolutely. 100%. It all boils down to why each one of us collects. I mean, I'm only going to answer it since you're asking, but I believe that I would like to say we, but we're not all the same, right? But we see examples of that on the fucking daily. I am the steward of all of these pieces in my possession, in my collection. It doesn't matter what it is, right? I'm the steward of them. At some point, all of this stuff, my comics collection, my dollies, whatever, even all my gaming shit will go to someone else. So for the time being, it's my job to steward it, take care of it, dust it, clean it. Yes, I get lots of pieces, shitty stickers, especially the later 90s Joe stuff with paper stickers, right? The paper stickers do not hold up as well. And, you talk about something from 82, 83 that sat in somebody's attics and the sticker shrinks and then you get that weird gummy shadow outline. I will resticker vehicles 100%. I don't care what it is. Vehicle, playset, give it a name. I restickered my flag, my Terrordromes, my Defiant, tons of shit. Yeah. And I know at some point down the road, I'm going to have to tell someone, hey, those are repro stickers. They've been restickered, but most people don't give a shit. Even my 79 Kenner Star Wars Death Star, I took the old shitty because they were hurting. I took the old stickers off and I put modern repro stickers of the original movie displays and they look good. So yeah, that's what I do. Repainting? No, That's one thing I don't do. I will resticker. I will buy incomplete pieces and complete them, blah, blah, blah. So, Mo, what's up, man? It's good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Very much so. Clint says, I enjoy Valaverse, but man, every Valaverse simp or shill is overhyping those toys enough. They are on par in terms of quality as Hasbro. I think the accessories would say otherwise, my dude. And I don't simp or shill for Valaverse because how many Valaverse toys do I have? Yeah. But that being said, I will call it like I see it. Compare the oh, by the way, I am wearing a Valaverse shirt, oddly enough. Compare the construction, compare the articulation, paint apps, washes, tampos, accessories, just the accessories alone. Yeah. If collecting is about the most likes, then I am not doing it right. Gotcha. Understood. Thank you. TNT Skate, what is up, my dude? It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Mother Slug says, yeah, that's not me. Saying I can't have it doesn't scare me. I say, okay, and I move on. Sure, understandable, but not everybody is the same, right? Motivations are way different. Jason, it's good to see you, man. Thank you for being here on the main Sunday show. I also want to take a quick second just to thank everybody that's been checking out Mandatory Fun, my new Monday through Friday show at 2 p.m. Eastern. Been a lot of fun, really good reception. So I appreciate that very much. You can all either thank or yell at Jim Largo for this. It's not my fault. Yeah, oh God. Bigum, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yes, beware the bush Wookie. Jim Largo invoked the Wookie. Shield your eyes. How late was that? I'm about 20 minutes behind. That's kind of average. I'm working on it. Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy isn't even making corporate decisions. She's not making shit now. She's just a producer. No, no. There are more than enough stories and corroborated reports out there about what happened with the sequel trilogy and her and Ryan Johnson and how they flushed everything down the toilet. All of that is Kathleen Kennedy. You cannot say it's not. Even the parks being this fictional world of Batu, that was Kathleen Kennedy. She told Bob Iger, don't make it original trilogy locations. We don't need the old 50-year-olds. That's all Kennedy, dude. 100%. Dolly Fulfillment, says Medieval Alchemist. Sounds a lot like many reviewers nowadays. Yep. Mm-hmm. What about HasLab numbers being inflated? I don't know anything about that. Is that a theory? Are people discussing that? I don't know. Yeah. Yep. Brian Stevenson says this is exactly what Target has been doing with those retro 6-pack Star Wars figures the past 2 years. Hey, I just saw the new one. They force you to go into their store to look and maybe spend an extra $20. Well, they know that's how it's gonna go. Yeah, Beanie Babies. Yep, Furbies, Beanie Babies, Tamagotchi. Remember when Tamagotchi was like the people are gonna fight other people in stores over those little fucking digital things that die? Yeah, Cabbage Patch, Tickle Me Elmo, all sorts of stuff. When Power of the Force 2 came out, for those of us who have been in the game that long, you guys remember in like 95, Power of the Force 2 came out, and Leia was the chase figure. People were getting into fights over Leia. When the Cobra Island Target exclusive classified shit, yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on over that Major Blood, which, by the way, I will still argue is the single greatest classified figure ever. Jonathan Redmond, what's up? Oh, chat and what collectors?
What? No. Absolutely not. No.
I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime in. It's gone.
Yeah. Remember how hard it was to find Storm Shadow? Are you talking about the original 80s Real American Hero Storm Shadow? If that's what we're talking about, no. I don't remember how hard that was because I was too young. So Nicotronis, my ninja friend, Hasbro creates their own sales losses with that scarcity. Look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Prime. The third party, I don't like to say knockoff. Third party is $40 less than the official, but loaded with extras that make the Hasbro pathetic. Yep. 100%. They do create their own sales losses with engineered scarcity. I would welcome anyone to argue that because that is not how economics works. Just look at the despoiler. And that wasn't even engineered scarcity because they didn't even sell enough of them because they overcharged for it thinking that people would want it. Again, there's that perception. It's costlier. It's got to be worth it. Nope. And I've said it before. I'll say it again because people always say that I don't say a thing, even though I say it a million times. That's why you're not going to get a demon. They had planned on it, but nope. Brian Stevens says, started in the early 80s pre-internet with Cabbage Patch. Yeah. Cabbage Patch, Tamagotchi, blah, 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 blah. Plenty of examples. But that's supply and demand. And that is not Coleco who put out Cabbage Patch. That's not Coleco saying we're not going to produce enough because we want people to fight over them in Toys R Us and KB Toys and all these places. It just got that popular that fast. Same thing with Tickle Me Elmo. They didn't think that Tickle Me Elmo was going to be that popular. So they have to, right? They become reactionary rather than proactive. So the reactive part of that is then they have to scramble to make more. And sometimes the hype dies down before they get more into stores, and sometimes it doesn't. Cabbage Patch, it kind of didn't for a while, but there's a difference between these got really popular really fast and we intentionally only put out 500 or 1,000 of these because we want people to freak out and want them more. Because when they do release more, that's when people order 2 or 3. Kind of one of those things. Blake Tarpley says, that's some psychology. A parent wanting to get that new hot toy for their kids so they can be the kid's hero and liked as a parent, as well as bragging to other parents. Yep. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, right. Biggest flex, Christmas 1978. Here's a fucking IOU. Stand by. I thought it was over here. I still have my mail away. I still have my mail away set. Pokemon and Hot Wheels collectors are proper mental. Everybody wants to talk about MCU collectors or, Savage Crucible collectors or yeah. Hot Wheels collectors, they will push your grandmother down. They absolutely will. Have you seen Pokemon vending machines? Scalpers stock them. No, I have not. Pokemon is the biggest intellectual property. Pokemon, Hello Kitty, and then Star Wars. Weird. I remember when the 07 Transformers movie figures came out, and overnight they became almost impossible to find for the next 5 months. I don't know, like some of that is they probably looked at trends of how Transformers was selling before that, and they were like, oh, just put out that many. Didn't expect it to be that crazy. I don't know. Christopher says, I was told the Pokemon rep found out while they were trying to connect a device in her car. Oh, yeah, an AirPod. AirTag? Yeah. She didn't have an AirPod. It was probably an AirTag, yeah. I have AirTags on my dog's collars if they frickin' run off. That's why the Tron HasLab was a joke. The 3.7, the Hasbro 375, yeah, that was bullshit. But again, that's because they had to do what Disney asked them to do. Michael Bent says, yeah, about Once a Man Commander. I used to be a completionist with Classified. Now I have one I take to shows for sale. It is what it is. That's true. Yeah, that is true. JJ Dubecki, what is up, my dude? It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Mother Slug says, did they even make toys of those bitches from the Acolyte? Yes, they did. And that's how well they did. They were there and then they were gone. The power of many ruined Star Wars. Ruined it. Again, Kathleen Kennedy had a hand in that. So did Cowboy Dave and his weird witch wife. That's that bullshit. 100% that bullshit, kids. Justin Booth says, hopefully Ace Ramen Toy is observing the bullshit tactics these other companies are pulling. But again, Ace he's a very small independent company. So, I mean, I know he wants to get his toys into people's hands. Bobby Vance from Lone Wolf Toys. Time to chime in. Oh, shit. All of this is FOMO. I suffered from it. I no longer do. All the major brands created it. Between the high prices and the frustrations, I have all but given up on collecting. They do create it. They absolutely create it. And all of this stuff is why. It is absolutely why. Sometimes I believe in a statement so much I am willing to put the money where my mouth is. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, my friend. I would like to say that I would have read it no matter what, but you know, the gesture is awesome. Thank you very much. Justin Booth. I would hate for his upcoming 118 scale Airwolf figures and Chopper to sell out quick. That's something between him and Factory Entertainment. So I don't know. Mother Slug, I just watched a video about what happened to Halo. Holy shit. Black African pride, gay pride skins. Wow. Yeah, we talked about that on Mandatory Fun as well. Yeah, talked about that. But look at the people who are working at whatever the fuck they're called. 343 Halo Studios. It's all the same thing. Look at the people who work there now versus the people who worked there before. Yep. Fake stickers. Fake stickers. Yeah. Yep. Brian Stevenson says customs are also a fun part of collecting, accumulating. Yeah, sure, of course. But we all have our own flavor, right? Drew G, what is up, buddy? Some of the best hair in the business right there, kids. Somewhere out there, an anti-repro collector just cringed their pants off. And I don't give a shit. And hopefully none of you do either, right? Don't worry about what somebody else does. Worry about yourself. We got too many people in these hobbies worrying about what everybody else doesn't like or what they do like versus caring about their own 3 feet of space. Yeah. Brian Stevenson says the Vanguard is absolutely better quality than Hasbro, in my opinion. I will take your word for it because I don't have a Vanguard and I definitely don't have a 112 scale. Well, I have the Hiss. Thanks to Jeff W. I made it 118 scale because fuck all that. And it's kind of rickety. Yeah. When Vala limits certain variants to 100 for an entire production run that is absolutely planned scarcity. Well, yeah, because it's a variant. He thinks it's fun. It's not fun. That's that bullshit. I'm salty because I can't get a gold commander. I'm sorry. You talking about the gold-headed Steel Brigade? A real Steel Brigade? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know. I don't have any of them, and I don't care. G.I. Joe 66. Oh, damn, I missed it. Can you start over? Sure, just for you. I'll start over just for you. Oh, but you were lucky enough to be here in time for the Bush Wookie. Yeah, okay.
Bear 11 Charlie, what's up, brother? It's good to see you. Wolverines. That's what I'm saying. Who's sitting on a mountain of cash? Oh, Kathleen Kennedy? Yeah. Yeah. She's burning her money like she burned down Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. Is it just me? Or does anyone else wonder what the original audio is from the Bush Wookiee clip? I do. I have never seen the original clip. I have only ever seen the one that I have. And that, look, when it comes to Nightmare Fuel, kids, you got to strike while the iron's hot. If if you're just doom scrolling reels on Instagram and you see it, you better save it. You better save it, because if you don't act fast, then you can't get, I didn't bring it over. I didn't bring Potato Guy over. Damn it, man. You don't get clips like this. All right, let me go grab Potato Guy. I'm sorry. Now I got to get him. Potato. Yep. It's going to be your fault too, Headcanon, because you brought it up. But yeah, Potato's coming in. He's coming in hot. Just trying to get through some of the stuff, make it a little more. Monkey Leia. She was super buff. Yeah, see, there you go, HoloNet. I remember paying $47 for Power of the Force 2 Leia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The Cobra Island figures, that's long game, but that I don't really want to say that Cobra Island was engineered scarcity. I think that a lot of reports came out that Target was unsure how well it would sell, and so they only ordered so many, and Hasbro fulfilled the order. A lot of people don't put the faith and confidence in G.I. Joe that it deserves. And we've seen that time and time again. So, yeah. Brian Stevenson says there was no artificial scarcity like there is now. Absolutely. 100%. Oh, Turbo Man. Yes, that was another one. Turbo Man. Fuck, I remember that. For a mediocre movie too, right? Turbo Man. Puh. Hey, speaking of Hasbro, what's up, Lord of Brooklyn? Thank you for being here from Hasbro headquarters in Boston. Yeah. Fastest toy sold in history is Hot Wheels. There's one sold every 100th of a second. That's 1,000th of a second, right? Tenths, hundredths. Yeah, Jesus, good Lord. Yeah, trying to get through this. There was a retro 6-pack of that lesbian queen from The Acolyte. Oh, look. He's done.
Hey, potato.
You're welcome. Yeah, they all went to clearance. Absolutely. I think they weren't even in Walmart stores for like a month. So someone asked Ace at Ramen Toy to make a 1/18 scale police car black and white. You can find 1/18 scale police cars. Easily. Yeah. I've heard the Batstand action figure is pretty scarce and in high demand. No lies detected. Hinderer, what's up, man? It's good to see you, dude. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Giraffe with the hot take. Let's be honest. Hasbro was never good. Or as you were. Halo was never good. Freudian slip. Halo 3 was pretty good. I think it was just that 4-player co-op, though. Halo was good under Bungie when 343 took over. The drop in quality was dramatic, to say the least. It is what it is, right? Brandon Stevenson says the repro police are a bunch of pansies with daddy issues. I think there's a lot of collectors in general like that who are pansies. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of pansy collectors. A lot of commies, too. and backstabbers, shit talkers, fake motherfuckers. Hey, Chad, finally caught you, if late. Dude, Mad Mike, what's up? Thank you very much for being here, my dude. Yeah. I get Screaming Guy in my feeds now. Thanks to Chad. I would totally buy a line of Chad's Nightmare Fuel Brigade. We can make a tactical screaming goats, you know, like pack animals. You can put like all your AA and E. Yeah. If you know what AA and E is. Arms, ammunitions, and explosives. Yeah, Gold Helmet Steel Brigade Commander should be a regular figure. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that, my friend. There was some dude on Facebook who had 60 Cobra Island Vipers the week they dropped. Fuck that guy. That was my breaking point on scalpers. But why? It's for the flex, right? We already talked about that. The whole psychology of collecting. It's for attention because they want to be like propped up by other people. Oh, you're so cool. You got 60 of that figure. Wow, that's cool. Don't worry about 59 other people that may have wanted that figure. You're so stunning and brave. Yeah, whatever. What in the Kentucky Fried shit was that? I'm just saying. What Mother Slug. Everybody take a second to stop and appreciate Mother Slug's photo now. I don't want to say anything bad, but those Motu movie figures weren't in stores long either. I still see them. But again, right? It is what it is. Ethom says I'm much more selective now. Plus, it gives me more to spend on customs or gridiron accessories. There you go. It is what it is. Halo took an honest-to-God shift after Reach. Yeah, because Reach was epic, man. HoloNet. I need to learn how to stop caring about certain things that I missed. I don't think it's about the caring. I think with some of us, it's the level. Like, what's the extent that you'll go to? Like, how much does it bother you? Does it motivate you to make rash decisions? So I think that's kind of what it boils down to. Oh, no truer words. A lot of girly men collectors. Yep. A lot of them. A lot of them. Kenzo says that's an idea. I should make the drink water today figure with a little bottle of pills. Ugh. Do you want to do that though? Yeah, I don't know. Chad, how long have you had your Vengeance tattoo? I'm thinking of getting my last one in the exact same spot. Oh, 20. What year is it? It's 2026. Probably like 22, 23 years. Yeah, I've had it for a long time. Yeah, not bad at all. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the chat here. Oh, I'm at the bottom of the chat. Dang. Somebody write that down. Okay, so let's get back to this since I'm at the bottom of the chitty chit chat right now. So scarcity effect. We already talked about the psychology of collecting and why scarcity is engineered and what it does to people. The scarcity effect is a psychological phenomenon. I'm going to make this bigger. That's what she said. Let me make this a little. Oh, yeah. Okay. Where people perceive items or opportunities as more valuable when they are limited or rare, often driving faster and more impulsive decisions. Exactly. Where is that sexy Peter? You're so insensitive. Oh, just wait. Cerrone Games Go. What's up, man? Good to see you. PB11. Thanks for being here, dude. So understanding the scarcity effect. Scarcity effect occurs because humans tend to assign higher value to things that are perceived as scarce. Jim Bro Skeletor was once a man Cobra Commander. Whatever fucking figure from Savage Crucibles that everybody was freaking out about. Give it a name, right? All of it applies. whether due to limited quantity, time, or access. This perception triggers a sense of urgency and exclusivity, making people more likely to act quickly to secure the scarce resource. Again, dude with 60 Cobra Island Vipers. Scarcity can apply not only to physical goods, but also abstract resources like time, energy, or opportunities. Well, your time and energy are always in short supply. That's why you should be very mindful who you give those to. Cognitive and emotional mechanisms. Loss aversion. People feel the pain of potentially losing something, right? That's FOMO right there. Fear of missing out. They feel the loss more strongly than the pleasure of gaining something. Scarcity amplifies this fear of, oh, there it is right there. Fear of missing out, prompting faster decisions. Boom. Engineered scarcity amplifies fear of missing out. All there is to it. Zakana sucks your whatever says, I would buy that figure. And it doesn't count if you skip comments. What are we talking about? Shush up. There you go. That first bullet point right there lays out exactly why corporations engineer scarcity, because they want to dial up collectors' fear of missing out. Don't even need to really go any further into this, but I'm gonna. Behavioral implication, blah, blah, blah. We'll edit that out. Scarcity effect can influence behavior in several ways. Consumer behavior. That's what we're talking about, right? Limited time offers, flash sales, only have a few left. Oh, come watch our fucking Hasbro QVC live stream. If you don't get in on this now, you'll never get in on it. Blah, right? Panic buying and hoarding. 60 Cobra Island Vipers. Scarcity can trigger overvaluation of resources. Toilet paper. Fucking stupid. How many of you are watching all this stuff going on about fucking Dr. Death Fauci and all the shit coming out now about what really happened with that pandemic panic and are like, yep, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Full of shit. It's crazy. It's crazy what psychological warfare can do to people. Focus and cognitive load. He said load. Scarcity narrows attention, tunnel vision, and imposes a bandwidth tax, reducing cognitive resources for other tasks and long-term planning. I need that was once a man Cobra Commander so badly, that's all I'm going to fucking focus my efforts on. It goes back to FOMO. Engineered scarcity makes you laser beam focus on that one thing. I want it so bad, I need it. He pled the fifth way over 100 times. Way over. Yeah. Yep. I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. Jim Largo now wants a tactical screaming goat for his Steel Brigade. I'm not going to make it. So, not going to happen. Yeah, I'm not trying to change the subject onto that, but I read it, so I mentioned it. It is bullshit. 100% bullshit. Luckily, I skipped all that because I was operational in East Africa the whole time. Yeah. Application and ethical use. While often used in marketing to drive sales, again, Hasbro QVC fucking live streams. This item's going up for pre-order at 1 o'clock Eastern time today, but you're watching our live stream now. You better make sure you go get it. But then there's those items that went up for pre-order before their live stream even started. Yeah, the Blue Ninja 2-pack, because they're retarded. They're retards over there. Scarcity effect can also be applied ethically. For example, highlighting the limited availability of endangered species or clean water. Oh, but what about the children? Anyway. Scarcity effect demonstrates that perceived rarity increases desirability and value. That's it. Bottom line up front. That's all you need. They engineer scarcity so people will want them more. That's all there is to it. And everybody fucking falls for it. Not everybody, but a lot of people fall for it. They absolutely do. I'm not going to get into this tab just yet, but I will. Oh, Medieval Alchemist is back. Oh, thank you for being back. But free French fries are 50% off groceries with the jet. Was that a thing? I knew about the French fries, but 15% off groceries? Forget it. Forget it. I saw that Ninja 2-pack at Great Escape earlier. Did you bathe in the light of the mediocrity that is that fucking complete reuse 2-pack? Hey, one of those figures was like a Kiko from that garbage Snake Eyes movie. So you guys can be thankful for that, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty not good. Okay. Matthew Mahler, what's up, brother? I want 118 scale boats like the Scarab from Thunder in Paradise. Dude, that would be cool. That would be real cool. Jeffy's leaving, everybody. Now you can go nuts because the other mods aren't going to stop you. Where's the hate watchers? Come in here and talk some shit. Jeffy's leaving. I bought that 2-pack cheap AF a few years ago. Yeah, because it's garbage. Just saying. Completionists, they went nuts for it. Your average run-of-the-mill, rational collector was like, whatever. Don't go, Jeff. I'll be all alone. I think you'll be fine. I think it's heartwarming, says Headcanon, that Fauci finally found a part of the Constitution that he liked. Biff! Bye, Mother Slug. Good to see you, dude. Jim Largo says, the bigger issue that feeds into the scarcity angst is collectors who confuse their value as a person with their standing in a virtual peer group that is just smoke and mirrors. Dude, I think we could talk on just this comment for about an hour. Yeah, absolutely. Collectors who confuse their value as a person, which, I mean, we all have different values, beliefs, behaviors, and norms, but people will always show you their true colors. I found a perfect example of that the other night. I didn't save the clip, so I'm not going to get into it. Oops. Well, I didn't load it into here. Standing in a virtual peer group that is just smoke and mirrors. They're absolutely smoke and mirrors. It's all just, yeah. Half these people, you meet them in person and they're fucking garbage. Yeah. Let's go crazy. Who's buying glow-in-the-dark dicks for their figures? Hopefully nobody. Do they have those to scale? I don't know. Fauci had 15 lawyers with him answering questions. You know he's guilty. Dude, when somebody asks him, hey, let's start small. What day of the week is it? I plead the 5th. What color is your tie? I plead the 5th. This is crazy. The dude's cooked. Yeah. Christopher says, some of the comments of late have reminded me of Michael Jordan and how he avoided politics because everyone buys shoes. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. But the reality is, Christopher, and it sucks. And once my eyes were finally open to it, I was appalled. I hate to say it, but for some reason, toy collecting is predominantly a bunch of leftist communists. It's fucking shocking, but it's kind of true. James Lucas, what's up, brother? I hope you're feeling well. You're always in my prayers, and I miss you, dude. Good to see you. 2-hour chat, dude, bros. Yep. Did he say even Republicans buy? I don't know if he said that, but we're not going to get into that. So engineered scarcity and collecting. So we talked about psychology of collecting, what happens when you're told that you can't have a thing, what the scarcity effect is, and now this is how it ties into collecting. In collecting, engineered scarcity refers to the intentional limitation of supply for a collectible, created through design. Macanita Silva, what's up, dude? Production planning or marketing strategy rather than by natural rarity. Say again. In collecting, engineered scarcity refers to intentional limitation of a supply through design. and production planning or marketing strategy. That's it. There you go. What else do you need to say? Engineered scarcity is often achieved by limited edition sizes. Yeah. Color variants, foil covers. Well, that ruined the comics industry in the fucking 90s, right? Oh, everything's a fucking variant cover, blah, blah, blah. Or short prints, right? One-to-one markings with a specific set. Sure. Numbered items, release calendars that control availability. None of that really applies to dollies, but this absolutely applies to dollies. Right there. That's it. I mean, that would be your intro to a fucking academic paper on FOMO and toy collecting. It is 100% intentional. Contrast with natural rarity. So engineered scarcity is created by choice, production plans, and marketing. It's easy to mint and market, but can be replicated or diluted. Diluted being like with the example of Cabbage Patch Kids or fucking Baby Yoda Grogu stuff. Didn't have enough at first, and then they overreacted and diluted it. Cold Slither set, it's still readily available now on Hasbro Pulse, but when they first put it out, they engineered the scarcity of it. So when they made more, the goal is limit it now. Once we make more, they'll all sell out. Immediately gone. Doesn't always happen, but a lot of times it does. Is the Bush Wookiee from the dark web? I really don't want to play it again. I don't want to play it again. I don't know. We'll ask her in a minute. Jim Largo says variant comic covers grind my gears. Also, frickin' foil, holographic, scratch and sniff bullshit. That's that bullshit. You know what's funny is I'm looking at Batman 500 with the gatefold and the foil. Yeah, I'm looking at that comic right now. What day of the week did you sneeze? I've been instructed by my lawyers to plead the fifth. Comic variants these days, says Blake Tarpley, are wicked stupid. Complete opposite of wicked awesome. When I got back in a few years ago, I was buying variants thinking they were the next issue. My bad. Yeah. No, dog. Gatefold, not gay fold. Gatefold, gatefold. Gate.
I don't know, man. Seems kind of gay to me.
Yeah. Christopher says Jordan's a Democrat, but he avoids politics just like he avoids religion and any other hot button issue. It's bad for business. It is bad for business. It absolutely is. I don't want to rehash how I got to where I got, but I got there and I tore the Band-Aid off, and I do not regret it. Because one thing you never do is fucking apologize, right? Venom, honest talk, but is it a bad Is it a bad practice from a business perspective? As long as it helps the industry to keep going, I don't think it's bad. Do you think engineered scarcity keeps the industry going? Maybe that's a good question for everyone in the chat. I don't. I think engineered scarcity leaves money on the table. It's kind of like bad pool. That's just me. That's just my opinion. But when you engineer scarcity of stuff that let's just take an example right off the top of my head. Maybe it pushes sales. Well, it does, but it doesn't at the same time, Venom. Look at the very first classified Cobra Eel. They made it an Amazon exclusive and short order supply. That's an army builder. Look at pre-orders. Okay. well, this item's going to go up for pre-order because you're watching the newest, Hasbro QVC stream, and oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. They do the usual, right? Name drop, digital render. Here's the fucking pre-order. Okay. One side of the argument is, what's up, Danae? Good to see you, brother. Tough Nerd Toys, ladies and gentlemen. One side of the argument is they put, let's say, 1,000, 5,000, just for argument's sake, up for pre-order. They all sell out. What if you had a pre-order window? This is the other side of the argument, where it's 30 days, 60 days, whatever, and you sell 30 times more. What about that? Not saying, just saying. Engineered scarcity distorts the market. It absolutely does, because you are intentionally causing people to want it more, thinking that when we finally put out more, they will all sell out. And that is not the case. So your numbers are all over the fucking place. And again, the toy industry does not show their numbers. They don't. Comics, yes. Gaming, yes. On and on. Other examples, they show their numbers. But specifically when we're talking about the stuff that all of us in the chat collect, you're not going to see hard numbers from them. Internally, they know their numbers for a fact. Externally, no. You can't just go look it up. Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster welcomes us all. If you know, you know. Negative. 100% not. Don't they wear like colanders on their fucking heads? Gay fold, not gatefold. When a gay person pursues you so much that you fold and just give in. I don't even want to comment on that. I just don't. Anyway, Venom. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Again, Danae, got to give you a shout out. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Cooter just drank his water and took his meds. Oh, God dang it, man, with you guys. What the hell?
Just checking in. Have you drank water today? Did you eat? Did you take your meds?
Yeah. Darth Gutierrez says, I agree. Engineered scarcity leaves money on the table. Giraffe says, from Maddie Creations, when there were low number runs of figures, those sold out quickly. Now that they make significantly more, it's better to wait for a sale if you're wanting to save some cash. Yeah, there you go. But the engineering of scarcity, when we talk about long game, they engineer scarcity to subvert long game collectors, people who know it's a marathon. Because they know for every one collector that says, no, it's a marathon, there are those people who, again, they'll buy their shit from like the Philippines or some fucking third world country so they can get it first and they can get the dopamine rush, like Jim Largo was saying earlier, right? There's a lot of people, they just do shit for the social media dopamine rushes. That's what those companies rely on. It's the same reason why the marketing department, okay, low-hanging fruit. Let's look specifically at Emily at Hasbro and Full Force Podcast. Emily is their marketing director, manager, self-proclaimed fucking pride warrior or whatever. Chris from Full Force is their marketing department. She's the manager. He's the department. He's the mouthpiece. Got it. And that's just when we talk about classified. I don't want to say G.I. Joe because G.I. Joe and classified are two separate things. There are other examples with other intellectual properties, other toy companies with other YouTube channels that become their marketing arms. But gaming does it too. Comics does it too. So do the movies again, right? All the Star Wars shill channels, it would blow your mind if you saw how many there are. Crystal Clear says most of the Amazon exclusive War for Cybertron figures were a massive pain in the ass to obtain. Can confirm. Absolutely. But it is what it is, right? TJC, what's up, brother? Good to see you from across the pond. Our childhood, it was about flooding the market with as many as possible to meet demand. Yes, but things were also different back then where you had numerous price points within any toy line. If you couldn't afford, this, you could get that. I can't afford the whale. Here's a devilfish, right? I can't afford the 83 headquarters. Here's a fucking Checkpoint Alpha, so on and so forth. Now it's just not like that. Even look at, we were talking about Mask yesterday on Energon War Room. You can't afford the Rhino. Here's a Thunderhawk. Maybe you can't afford the Thunderhawk. Well, fuck it. You can get the Condor. There was something in every price point for these toys because they wanted the toys in kids' hands. They wanted kids to take them to playtime with other kids so those other kids would see them and tell mom and dad, I want that toy line. That's how it used to work. Now it's, hey, here's this fucking toy. We're only going to put out so many. Then that way you go fucking nuts and everybody fights over it. It's a different world. Jim Largo says Valaverse pre-order is done right. He's gauging demand prior to production, not just hyping stuff. Again, this is because smaller independent toy companies, they need that good customer relationship. And it's not just Valaverse. It's almost all the small indie lines because, they got mouths to feed. They need every dollar they can get. And so they're going to have business practices that are more in line with getting these in the customer's hands, because getting more in the customer's hands puts more in the company's accounts, so on and so forth, where the too big to fails are, fuck it, we don't care. It's not about numbers. It's about telling their bosses they sold out. When a company says something sold out, that is hype. And again, it engineers scarcity and creates more fear of missing out with the tunnel vision and things like that we were looking at. Venom says it certainly stresses out customers for sure, can drive sales losses. Yep. How many people walk away from toy lines? Look at He-Man from 1987, right? It started huge in 81. Pretty huge. It got even bigger after the Lou Scheimer, Filmation stuff. That's when He-Man really took on a life of its own. By 87, you can't get He-Man and Skeletor. You can get fucking Snout Spout and Buzz Off and, I don't know, maybe Too Bad or some other example. Who wants to get into a line if they can't get the hero characters? That's kind of one of those things. Yeah. But on the other hand, it gets the public's interest, which is everything nowadays. It's really a double-edged sword. Exactly, right? Hype. Hype is the thing. That's where it's at. At some point, the phenomenon of the invisible hand of the market will bitch slap a company. I don't even know what that means. I'm just going to say, cool. Yeah. George Aiken. Oh, hi. Good to see you from the UK, my friend. Yep, she is still at Hasbro, but this is why you wouldn't recognize her. So, hey, whatever. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to be that person. So we all do our own thing. Mad Mike, I think engineered scarcity is some shit they teach in business school. Yes. We remember while aisles of G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Oh, whole aisles. Yes, entire aisles. But at $27 per figure, they can't afford more than a small section in stores. That's that bullshit. Ugh.
That's that bullshit!
It is that bullshit. I don't know. Brandon R. says that tobacco and Colombian marching powder were way more fun than Ozempic. I'll take your word for it, my dude. Yeah. Christopher says, I still can't believe they made Studio Series 86, Starscream, a Target exclusive, right? How did the kid in the Mighty Ducks film put it? What brain dead genius thought that up? Pretty much. I don't know if we want to get into this conversation. Whatever happened to body positivity? all of those pleasantly plump women who screamed about body positivity, yeah, that shit went silent real quick when they could afford GLP-1. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It jumped off a cliff. If all of the influencers suddenly got laryngitis, would we really miss them? Some people would. That's why they're influencers. I think that's just the most like emotionally withdrawn answer I could give. Yeah, 100%. Oh, shit. James only says fear is a strong motivator. It absolutely is. The Titan says, with smaller toy companies, I don't think it's just being smarter with resources. They have skin in the game. Agreed. Like I said, right? They got mouths to feed and things like that. Bigger companies like Hasbro are run by pencil pushers that don't care. Of course. You've got Ivy League elite Excel spreadsheet fucking masters. And then you have, board members and stockholders, and generally, like, you got to own a lot of stock to even have any kind of a say, but board members, right? But ask any one of them how many intellectual properties they have under the Hasbro brand. They could probably name like 4, maybe 6. Ask them what toyetic means. It'd probably just be fucking crickets and tumbleweeds. Yeah. Christopher says Playmates killed its Star Trek line by making 3 different figures limited to 1701 units. Great marketing. Suicidal in practice. Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably intellectual property suicide, but Star Wars did intellectual property suicide. Hey, we've seen a lot of suicidal empathy going on in lots of places lately. Sorry, you guys hear my mouse clicking. Blake Tarpley says that's why Lizzo got left behind as the body positivity queen. Yep, pretty much. Ubi McDoobie Skabooby Danooby. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here, brother. I gave you a shout out at the very beginning of the stream, but you weren't fucking here. Brandon R says Vala's Blackbeard figure is so good. Just saying, because it's right in front of me, shooting Ravage and simultaneously Minecrafting a battle android trooper. I like the black logo again. I mean, I am wearing the shirt, not like I'm trying to pimp it. You don't need me to pimp his shit, that's for sure. Venom says one thing I am glad about is that they're phasing out the variant gimmick. Yeah. It's always a horrible experience, especially when you want the standard and you end up with the chase. That's where I'm at. I don't care for chase variants or, 1 of 100 and things like that. Okay, so Brandon R was just talking about Valaverse. I don't care about a bloody variant. I've never gotten a variant, and I'm okay with that because I don't care for them. I just want like a representation of a thing. I don't need a variant. Whereas you have somebody like Jim Largo, he wants that Goldhead Steel Brigade so freaking bad that he thinks it should be a mainline release. Do I agree that they would probably sell a shitload if they made it a mainline release? Sure. But it's a variant for a reason. It doesn't take away from the mainline figure. So, yeah, I just not a big fan. Okay, so we kind of beat up engineered scarcity. I'm gonna pull this off the screen. I'm just gonna throw up a couple of examples. Nothing crazy. I didn't do like massive level homework on this, but I just wanna chitty chat about it. So again, the whole impetus of this stream, specifically this conversation, to deep dive into why is engineered scarcity such a psychological impact, which I think we pretty much covered. So my buddy Kenzo put up this post and he was like, 15 minutes to sell out. Well, of course, because I mean, look at how different that is from any other version of Skeletor. Plus that shit was funny in the movie. That whole scene was freaking funny. Of course it's going to sell out. Stephen McFarlane's going to make an appearance on here. Yeah. The Titan. Chad, let's be real. I think I'm pretty much known for that. You have multiple variants of the insensitive. I do. Yeah, here's a variant. Somebody was asking for this.
Chad, why are you so insensitive?
Versus the fucking, I don't know, Rainbow the Hutt. You guys have all seen Rainbow the Hutt. I don't need to show her. But yes, I do have variants. Again, somebody freaking translate this for me. Somebody please translate this for me. It's like this gets spammed on every one of my streams 6 days a week, and I don't know what it means. Yeah, but when does Office, Human Resources Skeletor? Where is this place? Human Resources. Brandon says, I remember being slightly disappointed that I didn't get the bloody head Pandora variant, but then again, most scenes I'll pose her in, she isn't actively doing things that would get her sprayed in blood. Yeah, there you go. McFarlane and his stupid friggin' gray figures. Like this guy? Like that one right there? Hold up. Wait a minute. Like that one? What's wrong with the gray figures? I don't know. I don't know why I have that version of Batman with my Justice League Batmobile, but I can because it's mine. So it is what it is. Embargo says, I'll be honest, as well you always should, right? Because authenticity is our currency. I used to buy everything from Vala, and then he started the variants, and that really turned me off. So now, rather than buying everything, I'm selective. Okay. There you go. Medieval Alchemist says, that was an awesome part of the movie. If I knew this figure was around, I would be pissed off I missed it too. See? This is kind of the crux of it. Engineer the scarcity to create the hype, create that fear of missing out. People, they will get that tunnel vision like we talked about earlier, and they will watch like a hawk for this figure to come back out. Then at some point, they're either going to A, overproduce a bunch of them because they believe too strongly in the, I fucking hate the word FOMO. They believe too strongly in the scarcity that they engineered in the hype. Or they still won't make enough. One way or the other, you're either leaving money on the table or you just wasted money. That's the issue with that. You are, it's like when you watch the Federal Reserve, fuck with the value of the dollar. They either devalue it or they inflate it too much, and they're just messing with our money. This is the same thing. It's just in dolly form. And you see it all the time. How many people, when they found out that there was a Jim Bro Skeletor, would be like, yeah, I'm going to go grab that figure. But now you fucking can't. And you can't because they did it on purpose. So, but the mouthpieces, right? Those people who are the marketing arm, the influencers, they fucking got theirs. They got theirs first. So they can show them off to you, and you can get even more fucking spun up in the hype that you didn't get it. Yeah, Mad Mike, we were talking about the Date Night Skeletor earlier. Yeah, we were talking about that. Headcanon says that Halloween stream, the one where Scuba Pete was dressed up as his cousin Shilly, will forever be epic. It's one of those things that can never be replicated. No, it absolutely can't. Yeah, it's like the very first Neon at Night Deke stream. That was, 7.5 hours? That one was just money. People were laughing their ass off. Oh, no, the all gray figures. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Holonet says, hey, kids, the moral of this 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 41 seconds is that the masses are easy to control. No shit. Yeah. Christopher says, I'm disappointed that Valaverse's extras have a chance at having a logo. Some I might like, but most I won't. You know, I've heard a lot of people say that they don't want the logos. And you know, it is what it is. So some of this stuff is just a learning experience. There are very many ways. There's very rarely the way, and not every answer or decision is going to be the right one. I think at the end of the day, I didn't buy any of them. So, whereas I can understand that sentiment, and there are many other people who have said that, I've even seen it commented on Valaverse posts on like Instagram. I will acknowledge it. I will give this comment room to breathe. But again, I enjoyably suffer from JOMO because I don't give a fuck. I just don't. I don't care. I like talking about the stuff. I like sharing in our passion about it one way or the other. You know, Christopher, if you're passionate about not getting one with like a fucking 3POA logo or Savage Crucible, why the fuck do they have Savage Crucible logos? I should have asked him that when I talked to him earlier. Like, what the fuck did you do that for? I don't know. Not my company. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just sit around with my thousands and thousands of fucking vintage toys and laugh at this stupid shit. But I do empathize with people who wanted it. I absolutely do. McFarlane Space Marines I really enjoy because they become power armor for my classifieds. There you go. Metalhead especially looks cool. Oh, I bet, man. I bet you that's really cool. Chooches, what's up, Chad? Dropping truth bombs left and right. Dude, I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you one of these. Appreciate you, dude. I don't know how quiet that is on your guys' end. I'd rather have Jim Bro Dolph Lundgren. Perfect cameo. And that's why whenever they make this fucking Helldivers movie, if it ever happens, if I don't see Casper Van Dien in a cameo, he doesn't have to be fucking Johnny Rico. He shouldn't be, but he should be some character. If Casper Van Dien's not in that Helldivers movie, I'm going to kick somebody's fucking child. Venom says, speaking of McFarlane, seriously, how is he still in business? Crazy Price's worst offender when it comes to manipulated scarcity, questionable character selection, and don't get me started on the figures. I think it's the IPs, honestly. How would Hasbro still be in business with all their fuckery if it wasn't for G.I. Joe, Transformers, Marvel, you know, which they pay $500 million for the fucking license alone? They're already starting off in the red with Marvel and Star Wars. If it wasn't for, well, but they also have Magic the Gathering and all that stuff. But that's the argument. It's the IPs. It's not the company or the person. It's not Uncle Toddy Mac and his weird barefoot fucking flip-flop self. And it's not Chris Cox. It's the intellectual properties under their roof. That's what keeps their lights on. With Hasbro, G.I. Joe fucking did it 3 times over, and they still treat Joe like shit. So, oh, Jedi Ben's back. Fiddle Chips, what's up? Having trouble picking things up. I don't scream or rant. I just spend less time on those shelves, less time looking at the lineup. Soon all collecting for the line comes down to a crawl. Yeah, there you go. Right. Chad, if I get FOMO, does that make Chad, if I get FOMO, does that make me a homo?
Racist, sexist, homophobic.
Probably. Dude, thank you for that. I fucking that's totally comment of the night for me so far. Scuba Pete also has sweet dance moves in full scuba gear. Yeah, and he even had the disco lights. If you know, you know. James only says a few years ago, DC did a run of lenticular covers that were pretty rad. For those of you who don't know what lenticular is, look at your Battle Android Trooper. Admittedly, Bobby didn't realize the extras were so wanted by the group of
community and community.
Play it, motherfucker. Why is it? There it is. StreamYard's been retarded lately. I don't know what it is. Russell, what's up? Good to see you. Just got home. How much did I miss? 1 hour, 58 minutes, and 18 seconds. Nobody's counting. Smoke, bro. This ish reminds me when Sergeant Major would say no orders from the gut truck. No one's allowed to go to the gut truck. Stay away from the roach coach. If you know, you know, dude. As Talk Daddy, I'd walk all the troops over for a burrito. We need a platoon sergeant at Hasbro. You ain't kidding, man. No truer statement. That's exactly it. Right? Engineered scarcity, fear of missing out, right? It's the scarcity effect. Look. Look. Check it out. Gut truck's over there. I better not see any of your fucking Joes go over to that gut truck. Roger. Okay. And then they go away. And then what do? Hey, go get all your fucking licky chewies and your pokey bait and your fucking monsters and all. Yeah, exactly. That's that bullshit. 100%. Yo, bro, I told you, keep your Joes away. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, thank you for that, Smoke. I appreciate that, my dude. Medieval Alchemist has got to go. Thank you, my dude. Remember, no shit, there I was. When Masters of the Universe Origins Mossman was $40, do you guys remember that fucking 2-pack with Keldor? Mm-hmm. Exactly. Same shit. Yep. Casper Van Dien can reprise his role of Tarzan. No, dude. No. The McFarlane Halo Reach line was the best toys he's ever done. Gotcha. James only says engineered scarcity puts more money into the secondary markets. True. As long as they keep it that way. We looked at the example of, we discussed, I didn't show images actually, of the fucking classified cold slither bullshit. And that's another thing, right? Hype. We got to hype up cold slither. Something that was like part of one episode and stupid as shit in the 80s. But now, oh my God, man. Dude, you don't like cold slither? You're not a real fan, bro. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which you would think the primary market would want to keep. Are you talking about the money or keep the secondary markets? I would think they'd want to keep the money, but again, they either leave money on the table or they just piss people off. So, hey, fake news confirmed. Chad kicks small children. Oh, wait, that was just about Brian Flynn. That dude was fucking staring daggers at me and Laser Pants so badly last year at San Diego Comic-Con that he set off my fucking spidey sense. And I turned around and he was with his little fucking angry dwarf look. Dreadnought says, Jim Bro Skeletor? No, thank you. Kids in the hall, man. Hell yeah, kids in the hall. It's not a community, it's a gathering of collectors. The reason I feel like I explain this all the time, so I'm not going to explain it. How many of you in your neighborhoods, your IRL neighborhoods, when we talk about it takes a fucking village, Hillary Clinton, that dumb bitch, how many of you want to live next to people who will fuck you over, talk shit about you, fuck your stuff up, and come steal your stuff? Anybody? Anybody? I don't think any of us want to live in a neighborhood or on a street with people who engage in the fuckery like a lot of toy collectors do. Because I don't want to live on a street with a bunch of fucking alphabet mafia, fucking Antifa loving communist fucks. But that's a huge part of the toy collecting community. No, absolutely not. All the shit talkers and fucking grifters, get fucked. No, I like my neighbors because my neighbors leave me alone. Anywho, Sci-Fi Swamp Man, Hasbro made stupid money signing with the gambling company for different licensed slot and video poker machines. Look at Monopoly Go. They make a grip of money off that. Christopher says, everyone can relax. You can still get your $65 barely articulated Jeff the Land Shark. Jesus, man. Cruising through. Brandon says, every time Hasbro, generally, but Mattel with Jimbro Skeletor 2, plays the suck our cornhole, you can't have one game, I spend those dollars on some competition like YOLO Park Transformers. Dude, the YOLO Park Transformers? Hell yeah. Or the frickin' Action Class Blockies? Now you're talking. And now Hasbro's going to rip off Blockies and do their own thing too. G.I. Joe Commando Gem is coming. They can't help themselves. They're definitely trying to hype up Gem. That's why you hear Gem come up in conversations more and more often. No, absolutely not. Because you know why, Dreadnought. You know who's going to fucking screen capture this and be like, Dreadnought K6. Oh, look, he said clan. Oh, look what Chad supports. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck out of here. JJ says, I aged out in 84-ish and Cold Slither was gay. Well, it's been a while. I'm back, and they're still gay. They absolutely are, 100%. Like, that hype machine did not work on the discerning people. Dreadnought, I'm not putting that up on the screen. Chad and Laser Pants being rolled at San Diego Comic-Con is a day that will live in infamy, says Hadbro. Yeah, I heard that revisionist history as well, but whatever, it is what it is. No, Gem is not truly outrageous. Can we be a gaggle? Well, we can't be a Congress because that's a fucking gathering of baboons, and Washington, D.C.'s already got that lockdown. That's why they had Gem at the Cold Slither concert at San Diego Comic-Con. Exactly. That's why they also had the Gem show poster Easter egg on the Cold Slither set, because they're really trying to get people. Who the fuck wants Gem and G.I. Joe? Really? Gem? Get fucked, man. No. Anyway, moving on from this. So, yes, right there it is. Mattel Creations. This is right off of my magic rectangular idiot box phone. And then this one. This is the one that I want to talk about. Robert, I know you're still here somewhere. I clipped you talking about this, and I'm going to use that one of these days on Mandatory Fun this week coming up. But if she has big boobs and cake, no, she doesn't. So, but yeah. So they made Lara Croft as part of G.I. Joe. Holy Moses, that's not what I was trying to do. But Retro Card, they priced her at $45 and she sold out. Looking at everything that we've been talking about today, this is a character that was never part of G.I. Joe. The hype is already there. One, for a somewhat decent, a lot of people would argue classified's quality. I'm not talking about that. 6-inch offering of Lara Croft, and it's the anniversary version, so it's not the Survivor. It's just old school anniversary Lara Croft from Tomb Raider Anniversary. I don't want to say she comes with a vomitorium of accessories, but she definitely comes with, several pieces that are reuse. Nothing wrong with reuse. They knew she was going to sell out. One, they engineered her to sell out. Two, they priced her at this, because we talk about perception. Scarcity equals value. Higher price equals a perception of value. There you go. This is the picture perfect quintessential example of engineered scarcity, hype, FOMO, and overcharging for something because we only put out so many so we know it's going to sell out. Plus, we priced it to where people think, wow, I really need Lara Croft in my Joe collection. Again, kitchen sink, right? Prepare for more of this shit coming because it is coming. But there you go. That's exactly what it is. They can repaint Lara into Agent Natalie Poole with inflatable raft and charge the same price. Yeah, probably. Brandon says, I simped the shit out of Lara Croft rip-off figures, not going to lie. Well, nothing wrong with that, man. Zero interest in Tomb Raider. I like Tomb Raider. I freaking love Tomb Raider. For a retro carded figure, even though this scale is not my main, it's not my primary interest or wheelhouse, am I going to be motivated to buy this figure? It's just a basic fucking figure. It doesn't come with a motorcycle. It doesn't come with, Dr. Rotten Crotch's pathetic dino pal or a coyote with fucking dog legs. For $45? No. But that's me. The reality is, when they talk about the psychology of collecting and you see it here in practice, it works. It works. How many people would have bought this if it wasn't sold out, though? Would more have bought it? I would argue yes. And then to add to that argument, if it was $35, how many more would they have sold? If it was $30, how many more would have sold? On and on and on, things like that. So the more you break it down to its brass tacks, the more you see that engineered scarcity, the hype, the FOMO, all that stuff, it works in the immediate, but really all it does is it keeps more items out of more people's hands, period, by design. Because for all of them at Hasbro, and this is across all the intellectual properties, I'm not just shitting on classified, this is all they care about right here. That's what they care about. That figure sold out. That exclusive sold out. That wave sold out. And it's never how many items sold. Going back to, you can look up. Okay, again, we'll just look at Batman 500. Batman 496, right? Bane breaks his back. Batman 500. How many issues of Batman 500 were sold in 1990, whatever the fuck it was, 93? You can go see that statistic. You can go see how many Snow Serpents were sold in 1980, whatever. But you can't see them now because they don't put those numbers out. They want the hype of it sells out versus the reality of it was probably a couple thousand at best. 5,000 would, to me, that's pushing it. Well, the figure of San Diego Comic-Con Lara Croft. JJ says classified in quotes is transforming into a generic 1/12 white label line. And that's the thing. What is the line? Sigma 6 was its own thing. Resolute was its own thing. Renegades was its own thing. Real American Hero, for the most part, was its own thing. But even within Real American Hero, Night Force was its own thing. Eco Warriors was its own thing. Fucking even Dino Hunters, which, I mean, it's Dino Hunters. They were all their own thing. What is this? What is this line? That's why I say there's a difference between G.I. Joe and classified, because classified is now kitchen sink. Action Man is it's not even as close to G.I. Joe as Adventure Team, which Adventure Team was its own thing, but it was still Joe. So But it comes with a working bow. Yeah, right. Venom says, exactly. Lara Croft was the first thing to come to my mind when I first joined this live stream. Hasbro wasn't very subtle. No, 100% not. I know people, says Dreadnought, who bought 10 plus flints trying to get that different card. Right? Yeah. Gem has no place in G.I. Joe. Nope. But the kitchen sink approach is going to get worse. It's going to get way worse. Yeah. They also leaked the info that it was a low production number to drive up the hype. Exactly. Engineered scarcity for a reason. Next, they'll bring over Witchblade and do the same. Oh, I frickin' hope not, man. Jim Largo says if Lara Croft was $25 to $27, I would buy it. I don't even think they make classified figures at $25 anymore, right? Aren't they like $27 to $30, the mainline ones? The Lara Croft figure looks fine. She does. She does look cool. I even like that she has the I call them Peltors. That's just but that's a brand name. She has the icons on. Just was never into Tomb Raider. I don't play the games that forced me to be a female. I love the Tomb Raider games, but that doesn't mean I'm going to run out and try to get this figure. So, DeNazareth said that Tomb Raider is giving me FOMO. Oh, damn it, man! Come on, bro. Fucking.
Ay, mira.
That's for you. Next wave, classified Turok Dinosaur Hunter and John Boy Walton. Well, I mean, but look at Dr. Rottencrotch and then the whatever Synapse or Syntax or whatever the fuck. That's a straight ripoff of Fortnite, 100%. And Hasbro used to make Fortnite toys, or still does, or whatever, but that is a Fortnite skin, 100%. Find out how much Hasbro had to pay Crystal Dynamics. I don't know if I could find that out. The only time I've ever seen anything numbers related from Hasbro, the dude who gives me stuff at Hasbro, I don't even like to say much because I shouldn't. But the only time I ever heard any numbers, like monetary numbers from Hasbro, they had a vice president who was laid off, but they told him he had to work the rest of the fiscal year. And dude went into like shared drive spreadsheets and shared some numbers. So yeah, that's why they're, when they say they're trying to make classified $100 million brand for next year, I said, oh, you're trying to make a brand that made less than $35 million, $100 million brand. Good luck. But yeah. Does Dino Hunters really count? Yeah, no. Hey, don't discount the fucking dinosaur squeaky shitty chew toy. I'd raid her tomb. You guys are terrible. That's awesome. James only says, I think Jem and G.I. Joe came from Samantha Newark showing up at Joe Fest and generally being an awesome person. Yes, she is an awesome person. Jem has no place in G.I. Joe. That's it. Jason DeMello, sorry to change the subject. I loved the mask stream the other day. That was yesterday. I have all my vintage. Oh, well, maybe you're talking about mandatory fun. I have all my vintage mask toys from when I was a kid, but I still got the loyal subject stuff. Hey, that's totally cool. And hopefully your loyal subject stuff doesn't have QC problems. Yep. Steven says, everything big companies do today is some kind of agenda based on snaky tactics. Yeah. Yep. Action Man and Lara Croft would have been a great way to introduce adventure team sub brand like the cop and fire. Oh, the police officer and firefighter for the legacy. Sure. Yeah. Still, when you want Call of Duty and G.I. Joe, is that what you're saying? Nah. Did you hear about the Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons crossover? No, I did not. Whoa. Venom says, I'm kind of comfortable with having Classified as an evergreen line. Now, G.I. Joe is an evergreen intellectual property. Yeah, absolutely. The only time G.I. Joe ever dies is when Hasbro kills it. So, lots of potential to be explored by having crossovers with adjacent military-ish IPs, Metal Gear Solid, Call of Duty, Splinter Cell. Well, Splinter Cell is Valaverse, so I get what you're saying, but I don't know. The weird thing is with the classified people, the classified stands, they want everything exactly how it was in A Real American Hero. They didn't like the first couple of waves. I don't like the asymmetrical weird pieces of armor. I don't like the scaled down, Nerf guns. Okay. But they want everything exactly how it was. And then they say, oh, it's so stunning and brave that we put Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. So which is it? It's very much like a move the goalpost thing that I find with the classified only types, like the tourists, the fly-by-nights that only got into G.I. Joe because of the scale. Now it's 1/12. I got to get into it. George, thank you for being here from across the pond, my friend. It's always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, the agenda does come from investment firms, especially when we talk about like BlackRock and ESG scores and things like which those are real, right? The real things. Hasbro says Chuchis is turning classified into their Funko Pops of articulated figures. We'll see. Classified Snake. Are we talking Solid Snake, Naked Snake, Venom Snake, Liquid Snake? Probably all of them. Yeah, they'd probably all sell like hotcakes for sure. But how many of you, or how much would you be surprised if, let's say, they did Solid Snake, just Solid Snake, and they only made 5,000 of them? People would be fucking pissed because, again, engineered scarcity, create the hype, blah, blah, blah. But if you had a no shit Solid Snake 1/12 scale figure, I wouldn't be surprised if people would buy dozens of them just to fucking swap the heads. But if they do it, they're going to do it just like this. Because when they show you their true colors, you got to pay attention to it. Solid Snake version 1 or version 2. Are you talking the sneaking suit from Metal Gear Solid versus the updated sneaking suit from Metal Gear Solid 2? Or are you talking like the Octo Camo from Metal Gear Solid 4? There's a million versions of Solid Snake. You could go all the way back to the NES game, Metal Gear. I don't know. Crystal Clear says, only foreign character to G.I. Joe I'd want to see would be John J. Rambo. Now, you know what would be cool? If they finally kind of went back in time and put Rocky in classified. Right? Rocky, they wanted Rocky for A Real American Hero, but he already signed with Coleco for Force of Freedom. How cool would it be if they finally got Rocky with his pugil stick? I see something like that. I think would be cool because you're going back through the history of G.I. Joe. That I think would be cool. I don't know. See, but that's the thing. You start down the rabbit hole of the kitchen sink of classified, and it's no longer about G.I. Joe. This is the thing. Do people want to see Snake Plissken and Solid Snake and Lara Croft and Jem in G.I. Joe, or they just want to see those characters in 1/12 scale form? There's a difference. Everybody was talking about, oh, there's going to be a fucking shared Transformer G.I. Joe movie because Noah Diaz and blah, 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 and fucking DEI Transformer guy. They can't get Joe right on its own. What makes anybody think that they're going to make Joe right when they mash them in a movie with Transformers and they get arguably half the screen time or less. Exactly. You got to do justice to G.I. Joe before you start throwing, and that's an argument. I guess people could argue that they do justice to G.I. Joe, and that's fine. I'll accept that argument. But you want to throw all these other ancillary characters that do not exist in the world of G.I. Joe? Okay. Do the Energon shit. Where's the Energon characters? Oh, but no, we need fucking Solid Snake. I don't know. Just my argument. Expendables line was a missed opportunity. Yeah. If you ask Kirk Bazigian, who is the true godfather of G.I. Joe, that is his quintessential G.I. Joe movie. The first Expendables. No, HollowNet, it wasn't Rocky or Sarge. It wasn't Rocky or Sarge. The thing with Rocky and the thing with Sarge are complete opposites. Sarge had his meeting with Hasbro, and then Vince, what's his name? His last name's escaping me. Told him, "Oh, we just signed with LJN. So you either stay with WWF and LGN makes figures of you, or you leave WWF and you go to G.I. Joe." Sarge left to go to G.I. Joe and became arguably the best, most amazing brand ambassador that G.I. Joe could have ever hoped for, even for the decades that he did it without Hasbro backing him. The Rocky thing, Hasbro, they mocked up a Rocky as a personal trainer. And yeah, Sarge became the personal trainer. I get if that's what you're saying. They approached Stallone. Stallone had just signed with Coleco. So yeah, it was kind of a reverse situation with the two. See? Big Trouble in Little China, Jack Burton. But see, that's the thing. You can get these figures from, Fresh Monkey Fiction in the 4-inch scale. There are other companies like Hasbro didn't make a Hector Ramirez, so Big Bad Workshop and Fresh Monkey Fiction, or I don't know if they're the same thing now or whatever, they made a news reporter. Yeah. You don't need Hasbro to do it. They're going to, make it scarce intentionally. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you want Monkey See, Monkey Do, Hommage's Fresh Monkey Fiction has you covered. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I hope they don't put Gem in G.I. Joe. I doubt Danny McBride would do that. Jason DeMello. Classified Lara Croft is expensive. 1/12 scale Solid Snake classified would be cool. Again. I guess it just depends. Venom says, honestly, I'd say most people want them in classified mainly because it's the best line going for Hasbro at the moment. Best line in regard to what? It's not their most profitable. It's not their most profitable at all by far. Not even close. Classified barely scrapes over the line of, they have this like invisible red line on all their spreadsheets. Like if a line doesn't make this much, they kill it. It barely fucking clears that line. So I guess it depends on what you mean, Venom. G.I. Joe will always get more screen time in any shared movie. Humans are so much cheaper than CGI robots. Agreed. It is cheaper to film humans than it is, right, robots and all that stuff. However, China is a fucking huge market when it comes to movies. Giant talking robots always transcend cultures more than American military, which is why with the G.I. Joe live action stuff, to include that shitty fucking Snake Eyes movie that Larry Hama was all about, they made them an international team. They didn't make them a real American hero. They weren't the tip of the U.S. military spear. Giant talking robots. That's why the Transformers movies will make billions. However, that's been diminishing returns for a while anyway. Everybody wants to see fucking non-G.I. Joe characters in G.I. Joe. Yeah, Rocky does have a G.I. Joe bio. He absolutely does. And you can still find it. 100%. G.I. Joe 66. Tomb Raider, LMAO, that's not G.I. Joe. Well, she's in the comics now, too. Yep. Yep. She is in the comics. Marvel Legends and Black Series aren't nearly as good as Classified. It's a shame Classified isn't as profitable, though. G.I. Joe, for as popular as the intellectual property is, it's niche. It's been niche for a long time. And that's just the reality of it. Marvel, especially after the popularity of the MCU with the fucking normies, and that's how we got a lot of fucking tourists into toy collecting. Hate to say it. It's just a powerhouse. Marvel just will be. Black Series, whatever. So I'm just waiting for Danger Girl. Yeah, stand by. Stand by for Danger Girl. I'm not saying. Just saying. Steven says, don't get me wrong. I don't want these characters in Joe just putting out things they might do. I don't put anything past them. No, absolutely not. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I say shit all the time. That people say, you didn't say that. Classified is, it has turned the corner. It will continue. It is a kitchen sink line now. That's why they did that pivot, because they had, proclaimed they were going to make it $100 million brand. And this is just the beginning. That and Action Man. Anyway, moving on. I said this dude was going to get some fucking attention too. Really? McFarlane is the fucking worst. He puts out posts on social media platforms. Oh, hey, these figures are now available 3 times out of 5. As soon as you fucking click on that link, they're sold out. I would have bought this figure. Am I mad about it? No, but I would have bought it. And it's all the fucking time with McFarlane. It doesn't matter. Like, that's a pretty cool hush, Batman. You click on the link. Why did you even post it, dude? Half the time they're fucking sold out before he even makes the post. Which one's the tiny head? The hush one? I don't think that's a tiny head. It's pretty Jim Lee looking. I don't know. My opinion. Brandon R says, sorry, I'm a heathen. I love the idea of all the guys coming together in all the worlds. Just wanted to make you read that out loud. No, it's fine. It's all good. Yeah, Christopher, Hasbro doesn't have to pay a licensing fee for G.I. Joe, which is why they can fit so much more deco choking hazards. Yeah, exactly. Now, the flip side of that, yes, they don't have to pay a licensing fee for Joe, so they could just kind of whatever with it. Whereas Marvel and Star Wars, you see numerous scales, kids lines, all sorts of offerings, because they're just putting out whatever, right? It's the shotgun approach to make that money back. And that's my beef. My beef is they put so much effort and attention, manpower, money into Marvel and Star Wars, but this line that they own, that's right, put Hassenfelds through college and all that stuff and kept the lights on. They're like, meh, whatever. We'll license it out to fucking Super 7 and let them do whatever wacky shit they want, and license it out to Haya, but not give them a fucking Western distribution deal. It's just fucked. So Margot Robbie is Danger Girl. Get out of here. G.I. Joe 66 says the blue one isn't bad. Are you referring to this one? Or are you referring to Azrael Batman? What we all lovingly refer to as Asbats. I want that figure. Like, I have a McFarlane Asbats, but it's the one that's not vac metalized, and I fucking want this thing. Are you saying this one has a tiny head? No, it's because his armor is so huge. If you read Nightfall, which is, I'm sorry, this is more Night Quest as you were. Zero, thanks for being here, brother. Always good to see you. Drew G says McFarlane's the worst, always sold out. Exactly, and that's the point. That's the whole fucking hype engineered scarcity. If you put a post on social media to go buy this fucking toy, and as soon as you click the link, they're sold out, that is 100% intentional because it makes you have the conversations like I'm having right now saying, I want this fucking toy, but I can't get it because they did that on purpose. Anyway. Oh, snap. Hasbro, Star Wars, hyping that new 2027 packaging box like that's what collectors have been waiting for. What 2027 packaging? What are we talking about? 50th anniversary? I'm excited for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. I don't know about in regard to Hasbro and their fucking dollies because I'm not a Star Wars collector. No. This is like he's wearing okay. He's wearing armor. It's correctly proportionate. Trust me. So I want my toy and I want it now. Yeah, exactly. Padme box. Hasbro relies on Disney to produce content to move Marvel and Star Wars. In effect, Disney is giving them free advertising. Even if Hasbro has to pay the licensing fee, which G.I. Joe Hasbro pays it all. True. Also, counter argument. Hasbro is beholden to make figures of garbage fucking characters that both the MCU and Star Wars have been putting out for arguably what, 6-8 years now? The more woke and the more fucking DEI goy slop that fucking Disney proper is putting out, the more Hasbro has to make those figures and they don't fucking sell. So who's got who bent over the barrel when it comes to that? Disney loses money on their TV shows and their movies. Hasbro loses money on the fucking plastic that they create. Acolyte toys, Admiral Holdo, Rose Tico, most arguably of the fucking sequel trilogy shit. Like prequel stuff all day long. Original trilogy all day long. Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, no, fuck no. And they make them. I mean, World-Class Bullshitters does a great job of showing all the fucking toys that are just rotting. So I don't get it. Hasbro is going to make a Night Force Sky Striker 1/18 scale for 2028, I think. Nope. Drew G says, I did get this figure at a con though, but it cost me double. Azrael or Hush Batman? Which one? Because I was kind of bouncing back and forth between two. GameStop has McFarlane collecting dust on the shelves. You might eventually find one there if your local store hasn't folded yet. Half of my local GameStops have closed. Yeah. Denazarus says, I missed out on that Asbats, but that's fine because the Mafex one looks better. Unfortunately, it's going to cost $150. The Mafex one does look fucking awesome. It is Mafex, kids, because action figure. It's not Mafex. Anywho. I want the McFarlane one. The only reason now, granted, I have the other one. The other one. But I want the McFarlane one because as I look up here at my, all my Batman figures, yeah, I don't want the Mafex one. That's just me. Oh, the one on screen. Hey, don't get fucking sassy with me, boy. That's like buying rare vintage G.I. Joes. 100. No, that's not buying rare vintage Joes. I mean, unless you're talking like Night Force Falcon or like the real rare ones. Most vintage Joes are nowhere near $150. Yeah, not even close. Some Night Force figures, a couple other onesie twosies here and there. Now that's natural scarcity. That's not engineered scarcity, because Night Force was Toys R Us exclusive, very small run. That's why the Night Boomer, aka the Night Force Sky Striker, is very expensive. Lots of parts that can break or go missing. Right, the Night Force shit is expensive for that reason. Same with certain Steel Brigades, because they were mail away, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Most vintage Joe shit is nowhere near $150. So Hasbro isn't even doing a 1/18 scale line. Why would they do a 1/18 scale Night Force? Or yeah, it's called the Night Boomer, kids. Yeah, no, they're. The Hasbro 375 initiative has not died with Tron, so they're holding on to that. They're holding that real close to the vest. So Ken the Band, Chad, I may have that Asbats. I don't think it's back metal. I can check tomorrow. Oh, well, I mean, back metal or not, whatever. Maybe it's just metallic paint. So if you do, man, cool, good for you. Well, that's the glider pilot. You know why the Cobra Viper glider pilot is that much? But again, that's one of those rare onesie twosies. The reason why the Viper glider pilot was basically a kit bash of the officer and the trooper from 82, 83. The reason why that figure and the tan grunt that came with the Falcon glider are so hard to find and or expensive is because think about kids would put them on the gliders, throw the fucking glider, pieces go missing, or it goes in a tree, it goes in a power line. Yeah, those are different, 100% different. Yeah, vintage adventure team in good condition with boxes over $200. Yeah, that's 12-inch and older. Flea market snobs think those loose thumbless 82 to 86 Joes. They'll try to charge you $20. Fucking savages. Yeah, 100%. This Batman is on pegs at GameStop? What? This one. Well, I mean, that even lends to the engineered scarcity argument, right? Because you can't get it. If you can't get it on fucking Toddy Mac's website, but it's clogging pegs at GameStop, is that intentional to drive you to GameStop because of engineered scarcity? Yeah. Only your GameStop is what he says. I haven't seen this shit at GameStop. So I check the one in the mall every time I go. So whatever. Hey, speaking of VAC Metalized, says Christopher, Mattel Chronicles has a third running variant of He-Man with a red VAC metalized cross on his chest. Interesting. Michael Zimmerman just got back from seeing Spider-Man. Hope I didn't miss much. 2 hours, 41 minutes, and 5 seconds of not much. Yeah. Steven says that Azrael sold out immediately everywhere online. A few weeks later, I found it at my Walmart with 2 others. I picked it up the next day. I mean, doesn't this just lend to the engineered scarcity argument? Especially if you can't get it from the source. I mean, this isn't Walmart or fucking Target, right? Like, this is McFarlane's store. McFarlane's one of the fucking worst culprits when it comes to engineered scarcity. That was the whole point of the argument. So I don't care if you can find it at fucking Walgreens right now. The point is, he does this shit intentionally. You guys still have GameStops? Yeah, I think there's like 5 in Albuquerque where I live left. Our Toys R Us has caved in. Aren't you Canadian? I thought you were Canadian. Like caved in like the building collapsed or what? That's pretty vague. That blue Hush Batman is at my local GameStop. You know, here's the thing. You can still get that fucking Batman and Hush 2-pack, which is Hush Batman with the fucking Jason Todd tombstone and the shovel, you know, the big fucking window box set. You can still get that on Amazon for like $40. What the fuck do I care about this version of Hush Batman? I don't know. Toys R Us closed, so they might have one location left. Toys R Us Canada died a few months ago. Really? Weird. And yet they're bringing back Toys R Us and fucking KB Toys in the States. That's why toy collecting's kind of a fucking racket, right? Billions. The industry generates a lot of money, but real toy stores, aside from like your, you know, independently owned mom and pop brick and mortars, we can't get toy stores back. You got to rely on big box retailers that only give a fuck about selling you vacuum cleaners. That shit's cooked. It's crazy. Completely backwards. Now you know why McFarlane lost the DC license. Everything that I've seen out of Mattel's DC has not impressed me yet. I don't know how much they're keeping secret, but every time I see something, like they showed that clay face. Oh, yeah, the head flips. And I look at my fucking McFarlane clay face and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Jedi Ben. It's called the circle of life, my friend. Our old Toys R Us is now Ollie's. Kind of surreal. A little weird, right? Yeah. One of the Toys R Us's here in Albuquerque, you know, like out on the street, there's like the signage that says all the businesses that are in this like shopping center. The Toys R Us sign is still there. It's just flipped around. So you can still see Toys R Us faintly because they just flipped the sign. Every time I drive by it, I'm like, oh, sad. Snap says, I'm not looking forward to a Matty Collectors or Mattel Creations exclusive DC figure release. Fuck no. Absolutely not. Christopher says, Toys R Us Canada toward the end had a lot of old stock and ridiculously overpriced. Like in January, I could buy Baroness with the Cobra Coil or NECA Rat King. Wow. I mean, to still find Baroness with that frickin' Akira bike. Crazy. Anywho, so that's pretty much all I got for you kids. That was the last slide. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. If you're so inclined, I will be talking about all sorts of stuff tomorrow on Mandatory Fun at 2 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow we're going to play Smash or Pass. We're going to talk about all sorts of toys, recent castings for movies, you know, like Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider. We'll talk about the Tomb Raider figure. We're just going to play Smash or Pass. Everybody should know how to play that game, right? So that's what we're doing tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me today. Sci-Fi Swamp Man says his Toys R Us and Ollie's now too. Milk Connor says, you missed the Bush Wookie and Mija Lady battle for Wolverine supremacy. That's all way too much. I don't even know. Real Cold G, that's okay, my man. Replay Squad is always loved and appreciated. Pause for the cause. If you're watching on the Replay Squad, please hype it. It'll help me get out of YouTube shadow ban purgatory, I guess. Yeah. Oh, Drew says, I finally get my kid to bed. Go downstairs to the Drewseum to watch, and now you end. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to hang out, Drew. I know we were talking about that, but we need to hang out. So my answers before the show. Smash on Sydney Sweeney. Duh. Anyway, you guys are all the best. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Remember, tribalism is bullshit. Like what you like. Don't worry about what other people like. Don't worry about how much energy they spend on what you don't like, which says more about them than it does about you. We got to make collecting great again. and have a freaking awesome rest of your Sunday.
Community, and community.
Okay, bye. I see you. Thank you very much for becoming a channel member. And now, because I have to acknowledge that, right? Yeah. This is going to be it. I promise. This is it. No more.
Wolverines! Hell yeah!